Hello, you tubers! This is I, Mr. Zero of Mr. Zero's Terror Ride, coming at ya on the 15th of October, 2012. Which you know what that means. Actually, you don't, because I don't post much about this, but it is my birthday. I am 32 years old, and I work at a haunted house. I am probably the oldest actor there. I can't absolutely confirm that, but I think it's pretty safe. Most of the people that are like that they consider themselves old are the ones that are in their mid 20s to late 20s, and I'm in my 30s. I'm like in my 30s now. 32. I'm now a 30 something for definite. It's like for keeps now. It's for real, no battles. I'm 30 something. So at any rate, to continue on from week 5A, which I ended. I just did that one because I had the cool makeup and I wanted to show you guys, which is kind of unfortunate. I'll tell you about why in a minute. But so, I did let you guys know that I lost my alternator, or my alternator died, and yes, that has been confirmed. I have had it replaced myself and my next door neighbor Chandis. He's kind of a car guy. He knows what he's doing. So with the payment of a few beers, he helped me reinstall or install a new alternator. So that's all taken care of. Wonderful, wonderful. Uh, Being as I didn't have an alternator until installed until Saturday, um, I had to drive my sister-in-law's car all week, which is a manual transmission, and I don't love driving those. Some people are like, I love it because I feel like I'm in control and blah 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 blah. It's I forget what I'm doing sometimes when I do it, and I forget to change gears. Oh, phew. It's okay now. But other than that, I drove in on the 10th, which was $5 day. We had a deal where when you entered the haunted house, I think it's when you left the haunted house actually, you got a wristband attached to your wrist, and if you kept that wristband on for the 10 days or whenever you got the wristband on until the 10th of October, you got in for $5. And so it was a very busy night because of that. Hugely busy. It's a weeknight. I don't know when we officially closed, but there was warnings that we might be open till 12. We weren't supposed to tell anyone when we were closing. We're open right now. If anyone asked what time we closed, the answer was we're open right now. We are currently open. I don't know for how much longer, but we are currently open. And so that was the party line for that day. So I spent all day doing my thing, swinging, 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 swinging. Um, Second day was what was I doing? I was acting, and I was full on sick. I started being sick on the 10th. I could tell it was like I'm sick for sure. I felt sick when I did that last walk. That night when I did parking, I'm sitting there and I'm coughing. It feels like a really bad asthma attack. Well, not a bad asthma attack, but it feels like an asthma attack. I'm coughing really bad. But by the next day, which was the 11th, really, really not feeling well. So I stopped off at the gas station, grabbed myself some vitamin water, an egg roll, and some Dayquil, and I took off. Got to the haunted house, where Jimmy asked me how I was feeling, and I said, I'm sick. Because a lot of people are sick. Yes, I know, but I am sick. And he said, well, can you be happy? And I said, I can try. He said, can you be happy and mad? I can definitely do that. He says, because I put you a circus jester, and I'm supposed to be like, woohoo! But I'm like, I can do that. I can do it. So I went and got my makeup on. Jimmy and Katie, I can't remember exactly what Katie's position is, but she's the one that sets the schedule. Um, and so she was doing makeup, and she was doing my makeup that day, and so she's probably sick now too. But Jimmy said, well, she asked me if I was wearing a wig. I says no, I've got a hat though. And Jimmy says, well, is he wearing a wig? And she says, no, but he's got this hat. And he's like, did they give you this hat? And I says, no, that's my personal hat. I will wear that in clown because I like to wear my hat. And he says, how about you just? I says, but I can leave the hat behind if you want. He says, do that because they wanted to paint my whole head, and they did. And the makeup was really cool looking. Katie drew like these kind of Kiss-inspired stars around my eyes in red, outlined them in black. She said she wanted to do my beard red, but she ended up not because that would be too much red. But it looked pretty cool, and I should have done a vlog with that makeup too. But kusi kusa, I did not. What else to report on? So I was sick all night. Circus Jester is generally a pop out. I have this car horn attached to an apparatus, and I'm with two lights on it, and I go and I honk that at people. Squeal that at people, really. It's really loud. And there's no time limit. I can do it as long as I want. But I was really tired and really sick, and it wasn't as fun as it could have been. I remember coming out of Circus Jester, and we were all in the dressing room, and Sharky is the girl's name. She comes up to me, and she says, you know, the worst thing about this night was every time when I started thinking to myself, I'm really tired and miserable, and I'm not having fun anymore, and I'm ready to get out, then I would hear that, ah! Oh no, more people are coming. I says, you think you hate that? Every time I just heard the faintest squeak of a door opening and closing. That was like my hint that people were on their way. When I heard that, I was like, ah. But when the night was over, it was like, thank gosh, glad to be out. Got home. Well, actually, I went to the store right afterwards. Bought a whole bunch of orange juice, chicken noodle soup, etc., etc. And I've been on my road to recovery. Should be happening soon. Apparently, I think it was on that same night that I was Circus Jester that dude named Adam got punched in the head, and he's had enough. I guess he's working on a film career, and it's taking off, and so he's just like, I'm gonna put Nightmare on the back burner then, and focus more on me. And more power to him. You know what? If you're doing what you love, why do? I mean, it's fun working in a haunted mansion, but if I could be like a full-time actor or a full-time theater clown, I'd much rather do that than work at a haunted house. But working at a haunted house is great. Don't get me wrong; it's a lot of fun. That's why I do it every year. I keep coming back. And so that was Thursday, and I had gotten home that night feeling really sick, and my wife had informed me that Chandis had started on the alternator, and I was gonna have to get up the next morning and work on it. And sure enough, the next morning I start working on my alternator. He had gotten the bolts out and part of this bracket, and I had worked my it was so little what I did. I was able to get one electrode out, one connector out, and it was attached with a clip, and so I got that out and roughed up my knuckles. And there was the major electronic connector there. Anyone that knows about cars knows what I'm talking about. The main one, the juice, the power that goes in. You know, you're really kind of the dangerous wire. It's bolted in. I couldn't get it unbolted. So I tell my wife, I says, if I had a pneumatic, if I had an air compressor, I could have used my impact and gotten it off in no time. But we didn't have an air compressor, and so the next best, I noticed that my father-in-law, he left his high torque battery powered drill here. So I went to the hardware store as fast as I could to go grab an attachment, a bit that I can use sockets on. And so I get that, and then it's not charged. It has no power. So I put it in the charger, no power all day. I went and did parking that night. It's a wet, cold, miserable night. Everybody's sick. I'm out in the front. I'm wearing my sweater. I'm wearing a thermal undershirt, my shorts, my shoes, socks. I was going to put on 2 pairs of socks and I forgot. So, but I wasn't cold. I was just miserable and wet and sick, but I wasn't cold. Terrible thing happened. We have we call them the big guys and the line ghouls, and their job is to go out and scare people while they're waiting in line. That's the name, line ghoul. And the big guy this year, it's just we only have one big guy this year, and his name is Balthazar. Is the name of the character. He wears a mask. It's called Balthazar, so that's why the character's name is Balthazar. And he wears kind of like this cloak with body armor on it and robes and stuff. And he has 2 Olympic style stilts. Those are the kind of stilts that you can bounce on really well. Like if you get some, you could jump over a car with no problem with these things. And Matt was wearing the he was Balthazar, and he was scaring some girls, and I guess some guy full on pushed him, and I'm working on point, and my buddy Jake is doing Intimidator. It's called Intimidator because he's supposed to intimidate people to keep going. He comes and is doing some other kind of intimidating. He's holding his mag light out ready to do some damage if anything escalates. But that's what I hear. I see Matt get pushed over. That's what I saw. As I'm doing this, I look over and I see him flying through the air, falling down, and he's just on the ground. And it's like, you have that moment of what the fudge just happened, and I hear Jake, "Hey!" runs over, and then I'm walking over there. I see the guy, like, he sits there, "Oh, you scared me, man." The general impression is he did it intentionally, but how are you going to prove it? Really, like, I don't understand what's going on this year. A lot of violence is inherent in the system, apparently, and it's becoming bothersome. I don't know how much more we can take. Lots of people have been punched this year. Obviously, there was the big one, which I'm not going to mention any names involved in it anymore. But the news, I guess it's been a slow news week. They've kind of been hounding us, wanting interviews. And policy from all parking personnel, we are told, if anyone from the news or anyone asks anything, no comment. No comment on it. So, big violent year at the Nightmare. I've never heard anything that's been pretty bad. Yeah. So I was able to get the alternator in on Saturday. So I have my van for tonight. I'm acting tonight on my birthday. It must be my birthday. Janice came over and he said he looked up information regarding pulling an alternator out of a Dodge Caravan, which we have at Chrysler Town and Country. Similar, but not the same. And he didn't know what year, but it told him it was going to be a 3-hour job. And so he comes over and tells me it's a 3-hour job. And I'm like, really? Really? And I'm starting monkeying with it. I've gotten everything detached. It was so weird. I went to try and I had that battery charging all night, that drill. I popped the battery on the drill. I got there, I'm ready. I'm like, this is it. This is nothing. No power. I'm getting yelled at by everyone to get on it and do it. So I just put a 10mm socket on a ratchet, and somehow I got the sucker off. Just worked it off. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I've got the alternator is just I can move it all around in there, but I can't get it out. And Candace is telling me that it's going to take 3 hours. And I'm like, really? 3 hours? This is ridiculous. And I start looking at it. And I see this hose, and that's on the clip. I take the hose off the clip, and I'm like, I better not. Candace comes over, sees what I've done. He moves another bunch of hoses out of the way. Well, let's go get the new one and put it in. So we put it in with just minor difficulties. We had to pull it out a couple times to fix some things on it. But yeah, now it's in, and it's working beautifully. Everything is good. The world is a happier place because of it. We had a Halloween party on Saturday night. Where we made, I keep hearing different names for this. Malibu, blah, 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 blah. We have a witch's cauldron, a plastic witch's cauldron. In it, we dump a bottle of Bacardi 151, a bottle of Malibu coconut rum, and half a bottle of 99 bananas. This has got quite the wallop. And then 3 cans, the big cans of pineapple juice. We dump that in. And then for show, we put in dry ice, which also gets nice and cold. Not necessarily fizzy, but nice and cold. It didn't get fizzy. But I got drunk off of 1 glass of this stuff, or 1 red, not solo cup. I don't drink from solo cups. No, 1 Great Value cup, about 18 ounces worth. I drank that down, and I was boom. So I kept putting more dry ice in it, 'cause, oh, look, it's cool, and it turned into slush. Probably a good thing, otherwise people would have gotten a lot more drunk than they did. This stuff, highly potent. But we had a really good time, really fun night. Apparently I was hysterical. I was making people crack up left and right. I did my impression of Justin Bieber's, If Only You Love Me. Yeah. If only you love me, we could be homeless, we could be starving, we could be broke. If only you love me, I'll be your platinum, I'll be your silver, I'll be your gold. If only you love, and I'd sit there and do that as a joke. And everyone thought that was funny. When you're drunk, everything's funny though. So, but I was cutting up all night, like the good clown I am. And yeah, so that was my week. Tonight I go in on my birthday again. I'm 32, and I get to go acting again. And I expect to have a nice day of doing that. Feeling better. Some shout outs to not off-brand Mucinex. That stuff works great. If you guys have a cold and you got a lot of mucus, use that stuff. I think that's about it. I'll talk to you in the next one. Woo!